Hello everyone. Today we're going to make this beautiful set. I use typically these molds to make. The one in the lilac color is the one that I got from India. And this one is something, this cream off-white color mold is what I got here in the US. I got it at one of the craft stores over here, the craft hobby stores over here. So I'm going to be using these two particularly because I just like the size a lot more than the lilac one. The lilac one, this particular silicone mold on the left side of your screen, basically is a bit smaller. So I'm going to be using this one. So I start off with lining it well with, with a sufficient quantity of oil because it's not a very firm mold, and that's the biggest disadvantage for me while using this one. Because at the back I do not have a support, and you see that it's very flimsy as a mold. But I still make it work because I really like the shape of this, and I am using quite a lot of oil for this because I do not want it to stick at all. So if you see, I just give it a bit of a press. It's not the most neatest, um, but I mean, it still works for me because I really like the features a lot. The detail, especially the eyes, the eyebrows. I think all of these have such a beautiful, peaceful expression, which is why I still continue using this particular mold. I'm just smoothing the surface to get rid of all the little cracks and all of that. And I try and draw out the features using the needle tool. Now you can obviously opt to leave it just the way it is, but I like to do a little bit more detailing to my pieces, which is why I try and add these touches. And you will see as to why I add this, because you're just able to include that much more color into a piece. I just cut off the excess using my X-Acto knife, and that's it. This is just such a peaceful expression that this mold actually gives. And I truly like working with this one. I'm not a big fan of molds. I usually don't work that much with it, but this definitely has to be one of my favorites. I just try adding a little bit more detailing to the features, and I do the same thing with the earring as well. I'm using this, making sure it's lined very well with oil. I try to measure out equal amounts of clay using my Jhumka mold. I intend on making this as a hook earring with hooks basically, and not as a stud. I try to make sure the back is also flat because once it's out of the mold, there is not much I can do to shapen the back. So if you see, I have that also ready. I just use parts of a pen again to just make the features a little bit more detailed. Stick beads, I add some ghungru beads, I add the little bindi with the nozzle. Now I'm actually making some beads for this particular necklace, or rather this particular chain. It's just a long bead that I'm trying to work, and I'm using a pretty, it's a very easy technique. You can just use any kind of a scale or something that you'll see me use over here. So we start off with measuring out the clay and then make it into a cylinder. Using anything like, say for example, this is a wooden scale, I'm just hitting it rather quite gently and making this into a long rectangular shaped bead. So this just gives me an even finish all through, and if you see, it's got a beautiful flat, very crisp edges, and that's what I like. And I just try and repeat that process. I put the hole through with the brass tube. You can also use a toothpick or a ballpoint pen refill for this. I design using my fettling knife. I'm keeping the design extremely simple for this. Do not want to complicate this because this is a simple piece and I'd like to keep it this way. So once the whole thing is done, we let this dry, and once it's completely dried, it's fired in an electric kiln. And once it's fired, just look at this. It is so beautiful, and that color is so, I mean, I could totally leave this pendant just the way as it is. So the brushes are just going to be my liner brush and a broad bristle brush. The paints are antique gold, milky white, permanent black, and permanent red. These are the only colors that I'm going to be using. So I am going to be mixing a substantial quantity of gold with very little black to get antique gold, and this will basically be the base color for the pendant as well as for the earrings and the 4 round beads that I've actually kept for the assembly. A neat even coat. I actually had to do two coats basically of this because my paint became a little too thin, so I just had to do 2 coats. I'm painting the beads in black, adding the design, or rather the highlighting that particular strip with gold, antique gold rather. I am using my liner brush for all of these. In fact, I think from now on you will only see me use my liner brush because it's time to add the details also to the pendant as well as the earrings. I start off very gently by adding that little effect of a kajal. I just extend it a little bit just to kind of dramatize the whole thing. Just adding a little more drama to the whole piece. That's it. So I obviously do the same thing to the eyebrows as well. So now you see why I actually decided to go ahead and do those extra features. Just because I can include some other colors also. And by the way, you do not have to only stick to antique gold. I mean, this pendant would look absolutely stunning in any other color. You can add black as the base coat. You can also do blue. You can do a green. All of these colors will look good on a pendant like this. I'm just going for something like antique gold because I have done this in antique gold and I think I like it the best that way. Just trying to do the lip part very carefully because I'm only highlighting the features over here. I really don't want to spoil the look of it by adding way too much color than what is required. If you see, there is almost a look of a bride over here, and I absolutely am loving the way this is turning out. I add little highlights using my liner brush. We repeat the same process for the earrings as well. Now for the earrings, it's a lot more tougher because of the fact that it's so tiny. I just had lesser room to work with, and but I think the liner brush does come very handy in situations like this. If you do not have a liner brush, you can also use a 000 brush, and it would work pretty well. Now that the paint is all completely dried, it's time to varnish. This is the product I use. Give it a good shake and transfer a little bit of the contents into a bowl or a container. And using a broad bristle brush, apply a generous quantity all over. Somebody did ask me if I actually do, the back side and all of that. I always do every side of it, not just front. I never actually leave a piece incomplete in that way. I prefer to always give it a neat, fully finished look. So with regard to assembling, this is the thread I use. This is probably the most standard form of assembling that you've probably seen me do. The earring hooks and obviously the wooden bead. So this is super simple. I mean, if you have probably been a part of this channel for a very long time, you must have already seen me use this. This, by the way, is an addition which is going to be for the tassels. So the assembling for this is pretty straightforward. The gold bead followed by the black and then again the gold. I'm keeping this particularly as a short. Maybe you can probably consider this as a bit of a daily wear jewelry. So I don't want to make this very heavy. So if you see, this is completely done. Beautiful assembling, quite simple. I knot each of the cords just so that the beads don't move. Now for this particular one where I'm inserting both the cords into the wooden bead, one of our viewers actually gave a very valuable suggestion, which was you can try and probably tape the ends, both the ends together, and then try inserting it through the bead, and that would probably make your job a lot more easier for you. And I think that was a great suggestion. Thank you so much for saying that. In fact, it was very nice of her to actually put that down in the comments. So yeah, I think that is a valuable suggestion. This method just works for me. That's why I choose to do this. After the bead has actually gone through, I knot again both the ends and then I start working on the tassels. I do have slightly more detailed videos of how I make the tassels. I'll probably try and link some of those videos in the description box. Please don't forget to check that out. I'm just adding, just locking the tassels in place using my gold thread, and now I'm actually trimming the ends so that it just looks very neat and presentable. Time for the earrings. I just put in the hooks. I am using an antique color hook for this, and that's it. It's just so beautiful. That face is just so peaceful. So I really hope you all enjoyed watching this video, everyone. Do let me know what you think of it in the comment section, and as always, I'll get back to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for watching.